I'm your compere for the evening. A very good evening to you all. On behalf of the Solanki family, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the 26th Annual Asian Trader Awards. And we come together tonight to celebrate the very best of independent retailing. Independent retailers who are the heartbeat of our local communities, the heroes of the high street, battling against the odds to serve communities up and down the country. As promised, let's hear from the Group Managing Editor of Asian Trader. Let's meet him, let's greet him, let's get a knife and fork and eat him. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, Kalpesh Solanki. I thank you.
The man with the Midas touch, a spider's touch.
Your Excellency, guests of honor, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege and honor to welcome you here this evening on behalf of our Editor-in-Chief, Ramniklal Chaganlal Solanki, CBE, to the 29th Asian Trader Anniversary Dinner. Tonight, we celebrate and recognize achievement of exceptional individuals who have excelled and triumphed through the intense heat of competition. They are remarkable people who deserve to be recognized. They start their day with the delivery of our morning newspapers and end when we are ready to sleep. And throughout the day, they serve the nation facing immense competition from the major multiples who have focused their vast resource onto the high street. Over the last few years, growth in grocery is primarily coming from the convenience sector. For the first time in decades, Tesco and major multiples are losing market share to the extent that Andy Clark of Asda said the supermarkets had been hit by a shockwave in the last quarter. Asda will spend £1 billion over 5 years cutting prices. Tesco and Sainsbury's will also spend hundreds of millions of pounds cutting prices as they engage in a fierce battle with the discounters. And as consumers turn to discounters, internet shopping and convenience, the time for independence has now arrived. The trends show consumers are buying less at supermarkets and are going at least 9 times a week to the local convenience store. The era of the superstore is thus coming to an end. So retailers who stock the right range at the right price and offer excellent customer service will always succeed, as we will witness later this evening with the Asian Trader Award winners. The most successful retailers make their customers feel welcome. They are at the heart of our communities and get involved in local causes, charities, and school events. They are also the bastion of brands. And a recent report stated there are around 50,000 convenience stores employing over 386,000 people. They provide employment to the local community, offering jobs to returning mothers and youth. But there is very little help for small retailers in times of crisis. With the tobacco display ban coming into force next April, many retailers will be unaware of the severe consequence for non-compliance. They face a fine of up to £5,000 and/or prison for failure to comply. It's a heavy burden and an unnecessary one, which has created huge opportunities for gangs to smuggle and offer contraband cigarettes. Without a doubt, cigarette smuggling is increasing and driving black market sales, causing loss of duty on a massive scale to the exchequer, estimated to be more than £3 billion. These contraband cigarettes are sold cheaply to anyone, including children, and are taking sales away from legitimate retailers. The Treasury also loses around £1 billion from alcohol smuggling, according to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. And with the ongoing consultation on plain packaging, the government seems intent on imposing more regulation that will impact on small retailers in a major way, forcing many of them to close. The unintended consequence of this legislation will cause devastation to local neighbourhoods around the country. We urge the Chancellor to take a serious look at the impact of legislation on small retailers. Chancellor, they need your help. Over 95% of all convenience stores and newsagents within the M25 are Asian-owned. Many of them are run by families, especially women, who are left to defend themselves from violent criminals with little protection from local police. So we need to find ways to guarantee their safety and allow them to live without the fear of violence. 2 weeks ago, we were proud to welcome the Prime Minister, David Cameron, to the GG2 Leadership Awards. He said in time to come, he would like to see a British Asian Prime Minister. Under his leadership, the Conservative Party has become much more inclusive and has made significant progress in reaching out to the Asian community. Today, we are honoured to welcome the Chancellor, the Right Honourable George Osborne. His presence here this evening is a testament to his commitment to the Asian business community and building a truly inclusive Britain. We believe in the Hindu philosophy from the Maha Upanishad of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means the whole world is one family and that each and every one of us is connected to each other irrespective of our nationality, religion, or color. It is a philosophy of life that inculcates individuals and organizations to be responsible for their actions. We, as consumers, retailers, wholesalers, suppliers, and the government, are all connected, and our actions resonate throughout our industry. Many organizations here this evening realize the importance of understanding the customer they serve and have a diverse workforce. Because businesses that embrace diversity have a more solid footing in the marketplace. Diversity, in its simplest sense, is about understanding and respecting the differences between us. It's not just about tolerance. It has to be much deeper and has to be part of our DNA. And real change comes when people of power and influence are not only inclusive, but must be seen to be inclusive and embrace individuals from all walks of life. Elected governments must serve at the will of its people. It must be fair and equitable. It should not be seen to discriminate against some of its citizens. But the debate on immigration has the unintended consequence of hurting Britain's visible minorities who have lived in the UK for decades. Asian retailers are at the forefront of race relations, serving all communities. Yet the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 34, states that one must treat a foreigner as a native, born amongst us, and to love him as our own. There is an important and positive side to immigration which we should be celebrating and talking about. We must remember immigrants create jobs as well. From the Asian rich list, we have businesses that collectively employ millions of people, pay billions in taxes, and have become great corporate citizens. My father came to this country in 1964 on borrowed money. He came to create a better life for himself and his family. He was a pioneer, starting our first publication, Garavi Gujarat, with my mother on April Fool's Day, 1968. He traveled to major cities selling subscriptions. He faced immense hardship, but is determined to provide for his family. Today, we have followed the success of the Asian community and have operations in America, India, and Britain, where we reach millions of readers through print, online, face-to-face, over the phone, and direct mail. We have evolved to meet the needs of our customers, reaching out to them at every touch point and providing news as it happens and on their preferred device. I know we share similar history with many of you in this room. This is why we must never forget the hardship and intolerance our fathers and grandfathers faced. And their incredible hard work has laid the foundation for us to stand on their shoulders and shape our future. But our success is also attributable to the fact that this great country has welcomed us and given us the framework to reap rewards for our hard work. Today, there are 27,000 Asian doctors in the UK, 50,000 food and drink retailers, 10,000 Indian restaurants, and over half of all chemists are Asian-owned. The third generation, like my sons and daughter, have very little memory of the hardship their grandparents or parents actually faced. They don't see themselves as immigrants. They are British. This generation is not restrained by racism, but more by perception. It's how they view organizations that matters. So it's important to have peers and mentors the community can look up to at senior levels of government and business. The lack of colour at the very top and in boardrooms of corporate Britain shows much more needs to be done. One great Swami said that we can choose to remain in darkness by closing the curtains, but the sun continues to shine come what may. So let the sun shine throughout boardrooms and government to create a rainbow where dreams are made. And like Martin Luther King, we too have a dream that one day our children, the sons and daughters of factory workers, shopkeepers, and bus drivers, will not be judged by the color of their skin, but that by the content of their character, and sit at the country's top table from the boardrooms of corporate Britain to the corridors of power. Thank you. It's now time to welcome our chief guest this evening. We are honoured and privileged to have one of the government's most senior cabinet ministers here this evening. Having first entered Parliament in 2001, he became one of our youngest ever chancellors when the government was formed in 2010. Since that time, he has helped steer the country from economic calamity to stability, and he will be one of the pivotal figures in the general election in May. Please welcome Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Right Honourable George Osborne.